Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we have a chunky bite. It's still a bite-sized dip, but it's more about strategy other than the more tactical content I've been uh, focusing on in the last videos. So today we're going to be talking about naming your design system, and so I'll let someone else say it for me. If you like it, you should have put your name on it. We're kind of like quoting Beyonce here, perfect quote for this. If you're proud about the design system and if you want people to be proud of having it and having adopting it in their workflow, why not just have a name? That's a good start there. But let me get into a little bit of why, a little bit more practical, right? So when I worked at Klarna, I worked on the website design system. So that would mean I worked on Klarna's website design system. Imagine saying this several times a day. Imagine writing this on Slack a lot of times. It's a mouthful. It doesn't roll out the tongue, right? So we addressed it by calling it Gloss, a much shorter name, a name that makes a lot of sense at Klarna, I think, considering like our marketing, our targeting, our brand over there, and so it's like this is the name we refer to it. Now you could tell me like, oh, by calling it Gloss, it's a little bit unclear for whoever doesn't have a context of what you're talking about to know what that is. Yes, and that's why we sometimes refer to it as gloss design system. It still doesn't make it clear exactly where that design system should be used. But the thing here is like I also think it's good that it's a name that evokes a reaction, right? Like it's more interesting if you have people coming in and saying like, what is gloss? And now you have an opportunity to explain to them what it is, to make them feel like more interested than just having website design system. What is that? I don't care about that, right? And so to be honest, I think you only have to gain from giving the name. But I'm gonna give you some reasons. I'm gonna give you the science, and I'm kind of like very liberally using the word science here because I'm not like plugging in research here for you to go read. Though most of what I'm gonna say is very well grounded in science. We're hardwired to name things. We name everything. We name ourselves as individuals. We name our pets. We name our towns. We name our toys. We name our body parts. And I'm not talking about legs and arms here, but I'm not going to go there. Get my drift, right? It increases our emotional connection to things, right? Now you have a name. Now you have a name that people can rally behind. It generates a feeling of community, of tribe. That oh, I work on the gloss design system, and I use the gloss design system, right? It creates a little bit of a team spirit on itself. So yeah, belonging and ownership, right? Like you belong to that group that identifies with that word. Being a team, it could be sports, it could be your town, it could be your nationality. It's good that there's a word so that people can feel a little bit more ownership also about, yeah, this belongs to me, gloss belongs to us. It's something we do together in collaboration. So how do you find the name for a design system? Well, you could just name it yourself, right? You could be a bit of a dictator and say like, now the design system will be called this. Yeah, that's fair, but it's much more interesting if you do this instead. Why not use democracy, right? Why not allow people to come up with the name and vote on it? So you should hold an election almost. And the reason for this is, I mean, design systems are all about collaboration and alignment. And so just let your team ideate on the name. It's almost like a first workshop. It's almost like a very light way to introduce the concept of working together. So just do it like very early on. Then after you have a bunch of names, like use dot voting to get down to the top five, get a short list of names, right? And then send them over to the entire organization for a vote, right? Like include people, include everyone, include other stakeholders that you would normally not have on the design system giving in an opinion, right? Like include HR, include, I don't know, finance. Let them vote. Like, of course, exercise a bit of your common sense. If you are in a very big organization, maybe people don't want to engage or don't feel like they should engage. Yeah, it's not gonna fly, right? But hey, you just allow people to vote if they don't want to. What's there to lose, right? And so let's go a little bit more into detail, right? There's an app for that. Uh, like to old a name ideation to all the vote, there's apps for that. So in this case, we're talking about Transfer Galaxy's design system. This was the last design system I worked at. And so when I got in, it was as usual, Transfer Galaxy design system. And I'm like, okay, can we figure out the shorter name? I set up this FigJam board. I gave like some basic instructions, come up with all the names that you want, gave them like a few days so that people could kind of get creative, feel a little bit of engagement, and kind of like unstuck themselves from like the more day to day work. And then after we had a bunch of names, I said like, now let's vote on our short list. You have 3 votes. You can vote 3 in 1. You can disperse your votes, 2 in 1, one in another, whatever you want. Like, of course, you can already see that some people really like the name, so they just like put it there, like all of their votes. It's a really good, nice way to do it. And then we had the top 5, right? With the top 5, I then grabbed Mentimeter. The reason for this is Mentimeter is like a tool that you can use to get anonymous votes on or anonymous replies or anonymous insights, right? And just you just send a link to people, and then just vote. They don't have to log in. They don't have to identify. So it's a really good way to get honest opinions about everything, but also a very easy way to vote on something. And so we have here the top 5 contenders that we shortlisted, and then I sent to the entire Transfer Galaxy Slack, like, hey, we're naming the design system. We came up with these 5 names. You get to choose, you get to help us choose the name, and it also belongs to you, because the design system in the end is a product system, not really just for designers and not really just for doing design and creating a user experience, but it's a tool for the company, right? It's a tool for that organization. So you see here that Luna won this vote, and so people wanted to call it Luna. But you're now going to ask me, right? Like, hey, I have so much to do as a design systems person. Why should I bother with the name? I mean, the reason for that is you want to kind of like brew like a culture. Like, you want to set an example of how you want the design system to be perceived, the design system team in this case. And so it's like it sets a mental model. This is my opinion of how a design systems team should be perceived. Of course, you're more than welcome to have your own take on this, but this is what I found over the years on 5 different design systems that they work the best. It generates an idea that the design system team is collaborative in a very easy way, right? It's like low investment. It should take you like maximum 1 week, maximum 3 hours to set all of this up. A little bit more if it's the first time that you're using any of these tools. It makes it transparent. Like it's like you're voting, you're doing this. People can see that you have good reasons to do things, and you always have a good motive to decide to prioritize one thing over the other, or focus on one thing and not the other. So it kind of like starts like this idea that this is how the design system team is going to work. And then I think it's inclusive, right? Like you're including everyone in the company, you're including other stakeholders, not just designers and developers and product managers. You're trying to like make sure that everyone has their voice heard, and that's only good for a design system because it increases the, let's say, allies that you have in the organization. And if you're not convinced, this is a really easy win, right? Like you can literally do this, and then you can go to your Slack, and then you can say like, hey, we did this exercise, we did the workshop to ideate on the name, and then we did the vote, and everyone out there say, and now we have a name. Like, amazing, right? Like, really small win, like really easy win, right? Like low hanging fruit style. And it kind of like sets this tone for especially for like a new hires, a new design team, a newly formed team. It's good that you get out there and have visibility right from the start, right? Like, I think, who doesn't want that, unless you're doing things in secret, but I don't really recommend that. That might implode at some point. As I said, raises design system awareness. That's really important, that people understand that they have a design system. They understand who's working on it. They understand who to ask when things don't work like they should, or when the things are less than optimal. Right? It's kind of like, it's a good exercise. And yeah, I mean, of course, it sets expectations on your role as a design system team to be organization-wide alignment enablers, or if you want to use another metaphor, catalysts, right? Like, the design system team would be the team that detects the need for things to align, right? Like, oh, we have two different form types. Why are they different, right? It's normally the design system team that finds this out, right? And that kind of is in the perfect position to be like a middleman into understanding the reason and then coming up with a solution for that. So yeah, that's it. What's your take? Like, did you agree? Like, should you find a name for your design system? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more content. I hope you have a great week. See you later.